try to anchor. Hello and welcome to another virtual dose of vitamin Z. On this very rainy day, we are outside the flamingo habitat. We're joined here today by Jess, birds department zookeeper for the Detroit Zoo, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the flamingos here. So there's two species of flamingos who live here at the Detroit Zoo. There are Chilean flamingos and greater flamingos, and the greater flamingos are the bigger birds that you see out here, and they're also a lighter shade of pink. I'm going to try to zoom in a little so you can get a better look at them. So they are the biggest of the flamingo species. There's about 5 different flamingo species. The greater flamingos are the largest. They're found in the east part of Africa, and then further east than that in parts of Asia, whereas the Chilean flamingos are found in South America. So like I mentioned, there are 2 different species and they live here together. Jess, can you tell us a little bit about what it's like for the 2 species to share the habitat?
Absolutely. So even though they are different species, they definitely share the same flock mentality. So just as the saying goes that birds of a feather flock together, we definitely see that here with. So these birds share the same behaviors, they share the same means of communication, so they really get along well in the mixed habitat.
Right, so these birds actually get their color from the diet that they eat. So in the wild, they're eating things like crustaceans and algae that gives them that pink color. When they're born, they're more of a grayish color. So how do they get the color here eating a zoo's or following a zoo's diet?
So we offer them a type of chow that contains all of the beta carotenoids that they need for that pink color, and also all of the minerals in general that they need. They also do a lot of foraging in the wallows out here on the habitat. So through that behavior, they will find little insects, and we will add krill and smelt as enrichment items. Krill definitely gives them that beta carotenoid as well. So lots of different ways.
So that pigment you hear being mentioned, that's actually something that we humans eat as well. We find it in things like spinach and carrots and beets. We don't eat enough to turn ourselves pink, and our bodies don't work quite the same way, but it is a natural pigment that's found in everyday food. So another question I wanted to ask you is a little bit about the habitat. So I see this beautiful habitat here. Can you talk about some of the things that you have in this space to help meet the needs of the flamingos? I see that they're standing in a shallow piece of water. Is that there because of the rain?
So we keep that area filled with water for the whole season. That is one of their wallow spaces. And there's also some wallows that stretch along the back of the habitat pool, behind the pool and in front of the building. So they have lots of wallow area, and that is great for them because they are wading birds. They forage for their food in the water. So they frequently will be spending their time in those short wallows foraging. You can see right now they're doing some preening behavior. They also really enjoy the pool. That is an area that allows them to submerge themselves a little bit deeper in the water. And they really enjoy going in there and taking a full-on bath.
Right, can you tell us what it's like working with the flamingos? So what's a typical day like caring for these birds here?
Sure. So we do a lot of observations throughout our day, whether we are out on habitat, maintaining the wallows or cleaning the pool, maybe adjusting a sprinkler. We use every opportunity to take a look at the flock and just make sure everybody's doing okay. We also have a pair of binoculars in the building that we can use as a less intrusive way of just kind of scoping everybody out, making sure everybody is safe and doing well. We clean their indoor space daily, so we use a fire hose to clean their pools. That helps us make sure all of the debris is rinsed away daily and taken care of. We are offering food for these guys twice a day, and we're also incorporating enrichment items for them.
Right, you mentioned earlier the krill and the crustaceans that you give as sort of enrichment.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so we see a little bit of playing around right up front. Can you talk about some different personalities within the flock?
Absolutely. So throughout the flock, there is an extreme vast range of personalities. So we have everywhere from the more reserved birds to the more outgoing and social birds, and everywhere in between. So I have to say, working with a flock of this size, it is very entertaining in different situations, seeing those personalities kind of shine through, and just learning, who likes to hang out with who, and all of those different personality traits.
All right, so the weather's getting really intense here. Can you talk about just how the birds survive in different weather, or how the birds live in different weather?
Yeah.
What happens when they're outside? What happens when they need to go inside?
Sure. So flamingos are pretty weather hardy birds. You can see right now they are handling this rain just fine. It's really bringing out their preening behavior. Some are still choosing to forage a little bit. And you can see some of the more reserved ones are almost kind of just sleeping in it and resting. So our main concern, I would say, in the colder months is for ice. And anytime ice forms, we will access the flamingos to a holding yard, which aligns with their indoor space back at that building over there. And so this gives the flock a choice to decide whether or not they want to be inside or outside, or kind of bounce between the spaces. In that holding yard, we are able to put bedding down, so if it snows or anything, they can still go outside and we don't have to worry about their feet being too cold. We can obviously ensure that no ice is forming in there, so it is safe for them. And in situations like today, we're just monitoring, probably even more so than normal. And if the winds were to pick up or anything substantial took place, we would be able to get them inside and in some shelter.
That is awesome. So I am going to probably end the live here because the rain is picking up so much. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for giving us some more information about the flamingos
No
who
problem.
are found here at the Detroit Zoo. Let me just... All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back soon for more virtual content. Be sure to check out our website.